met in the 2nd grade at Crescent. We were like best friends, like instantly. We were in the same class. I don't know, I've never like became friends with someone that quickly. I like really honestly don't even remember. We just like were instant friends. And then we were friends like all throughout elementary and like beginning of middle school. And then after that we like started getting different classes and all the same teachers, and we weren't as close, but I like still like, you know, like we were family friends and stuff. And my sister's like best friends with her younger sister, so it was just like everyone was like, we all got on really well.
So Serena and I met on our first NJB team in the 5th grade, and that's when I used to always be paired up with her. So I always felt like there was some sort of like connection with her. I don't know. It's kind of weird to talk about it now, but like that's just how I felt. We didn't go to the same elementary school, so like I never really saw her besides practice. And then 7th grade, I remember it was maybe like the first week, and I saw her and I was like, oh, like, do you remember me? She was like, yeah, I do. And like that was really sweet. So like I would see her sometimes. And then 8th grade, I saw more of her. We talked. I mean, it wasn't really like, we weren't best friends at that time. And then summer basketball happened for high school, and that's when we got really, really close. She became my person, as you could say. I don't know. Every team has, I guess, groups, or like the few people, or like the one person you have on your team that you could always count on, you could talk to, you know, and she was my person.
I met her in 7th grade. She sat kind of behind me to like the left, and our relationship was really good. We were good friends in 7th and 8th grade, and we started really kind of having a thing in probably the summer of 8th grade.
So I met Serena through basketball, man. Okay, I gotta back up for you, okay? I met Serena through basketball. I didn't know her any time before then. It was tryouts, I saw her, and I thought, wow, she's pretty. Yeah, that was my first thing. She's pretty and she's tall. I was like, whoa, okay. And then I didn't know much about her. And then we both made the same team.
So I met her during summer basketball when Coach Roos was our coach. And she was with Sally, and she was shooting free throws by herself. So then I went up to her and I introduced myself because like I wanted to like get to know everyone. And then we started shooting free throws together, and then we kind of just like started talking all the practices. And then we kind of started hanging out like during 5th period, maybe at like lunch sometimes, or nutrition, because you know me and Sally were best friends, and so like she always hung out with Serena, so I mean her became like pretty close and stuff.
Our friendship was very easy, and it was very friendly, like silly, casual, relaxed. That's a good word, relaxed. Because I don't know, if she'd see me during like school and she'd like stick her tongue out at me, or I don't know, she'd say something silly, and practice was even better. Like I would look forward to practice to be able to play with someone that I love so much. You know, like basketball was such a big part of my life, and she was a huge part of it. She truly made me love basketball. Because I don't know, when you get to play basketball with someone that you love, like the people you love, it just makes it that much better.
She was like so weird, like, and really goofy, and I honestly don't think many people saw the side of her that I did. It was like she was goofing off, and she was like silly, and then she was like studious at times, and she was just like every quality in one person, and it was like the best thing ever.
She was like my little sister. I was very, very overprotective of her because, you know, she had, you know, a boyfriend, and if she ever had problems with the boyfriend, you know, she'd tell me, and, you know, she'd come and she'd cry to me, or she'd just, like, talk to me, like, about anything. Like, she's, like, I don't know, we had a really good relationship.
I just knew I wanted to talk to her. So, like, I remember, like, the first couple of days of school in 7th grade, I didn't really know anyone because I was in a private school before. So everyone at El Rancho was new. So I was really trying to make friends and stuff. So I remember just talking to her. And talked about it, like, when we were dating. Like, I was like, do you remember, like, talking and stuff? And she's like, yeah, I kind of hated you because you're kind of annoying. Because I'd always try to talk to her and, like, make really stupid jokes. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I wasn't incredibly close with her, and we talked here and there, but whenever we talked, she was always so nice and kind and polite, or there were times at practice, like, I definitely knew she was going through something. I just can get that vibe off of people, and the way she, you know, her eyes looked, and the way she kind of just held herself. Like, I knew she was going through some stuff, and I noticed little things about her, that I definitely knew she was going through something, but I didn't say anything because I've been through that, and that was her story to tell, and she had people there for her, so I just tried to make sure, like she had an alright time during basketball, you know? I didn't want to go off on her, like, I didn't want to be like, oh, hey, so I noticed this, are you okay? Just know I'm here. You know, because I felt like that would scare her even more, or it would close her off even more, and I didn't want to have that effect. Instead, I just tried doing what I can when I was around her.
Well, both of us were both like, we were heavier when we were younger, and we both had those like feelings of being kind of like different from everyone else and our friends. So I think actually that's another reason why we became friends. But like we were kind of related in that. But then later on in middle school, I became really depressed too. But I didn't know. I mean, I knew Serina was depressed as well, but I didn't know like to that extent. And then in 8th grade we became distant, and then that's when I think I really started noticing like she was still very, very sad, and I was fine by then. I had like I'd found like why I was sad, and I fixed the problem or whatever. But I don't know, I think I like always knew. But freshman year she seemed so much happier, so that's what kind of makes it all like really bittersweet, because I thought she was better, but I guess not.
So I knew she was depressed because she would tell me about it and we'd talk about it, because I guess like we both had similar struggles at the time. So that's a big part of why we were so close too, because we would talk to each other about these things. And like I said, she was my person, you know, like she was the person I'd go to for this kind of talk. She had scars, and like, you know, like it was really heartbreaking to see. But I don't think anyone, even to this day, people will still say it, no one knew, because she was so happy in front of you. I've never seen her cry. We were so close, and I've never seen her cry. She would never let me see her cry. And it's just like, she'd walk around school looking like the happiest person alive. At practice, she'd look like the happiest person alive. But then, I don't know, man, like her world was falling apart in her mind.
She told me. If I said, you know, she would tell me anything. And, you know, like, she didn't tell me, like, at first, like, directly to me, but Sally told me, because Sally was concerned. And Sally knows that, you know, I'm pretty good at talking to people, you know. So I talked to her, and then she kind of just, like, told me how she was feeling, what she was doing.
And it's really sad. It's like she didn't want a story. She didn't want us to know. She didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I don't know, man. Like, I've talked her out of it before. I know I have. But, I don't know. It wasn't enough, and, like, I've made my peace with that, you know? There's nothing much I could do. I mean, when it first happened, that was the only thing I ever thought of. Like, why didn't she talk to me about it? Things like that. But now I'm like, I understand. Like, when you want the end to end, you don't tell anyone. She lost all hope. I feel like when she did talk to me about it, she still had hope. She was hoping that I could help her find a way, or someone else, or anyone she ever talked to could find a way for her. But then I guess she just said, like, enough is enough. This is it. This is all I'm gonna have anymore. And yeah.
I never in a million years would have thought that my, like my closest childhood friend would do that. But I never saw it coming.
I would ask her the day before it happened. Actually, we were talking, and I asked her, and I said, like, "Are you sure that you're okay? Like you're not gonna do anything to yourself?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then the next day, I got like a text from Tulu in our group chat telling me what happened, and I was just really upset because she told me that it wasn't gonna happen, and I just felt really bad because I never said anything because she told me she was fine. So no, I didn't really see it coming at all.
I didn't see it coming that time, that day. None of it. I was so shocked. I was at the gym the night before around 10 o'clock at night, and I get a text from her, and we had like a little fight maybe like a week before, and I mean it wasn't that big of a deal. And then she knew I was sorry, things like that. And then she like formally apologized. I apologized. I was asking her about Cameron, things like that. And at this time, she promised me that I would always stay friends with Cameron. I'd always be there for him. And I never understood why. I was like, I thought maybe she's just gonna like break up with him, maybe like something like that. I never thought, this.
It was the last day of spring break.
Easter.
Yeah, it was on Easter, and I saw Sally posted something on Instagram, and I thought it was a joke, and I was like, I commented, and I like texted her, and I said, "That's not funny, don't do that," and then I thought she didn't know that Serina was depressed as well. So then, after that, I told my mom, and we were all together, and my mom was freaking out. She said, "No, don't lie to me, don't lie to me," and then she also went on Facebook and confirmed it. So yeah, it was like my whole family found out together, and like we're all, like I said, like really close with her family, so it was I had to have her confirm it, otherwise I would never believe it from like an Instagram post.
I was in denial. I texted back and I was like, "No, like, are you sure? Like, that couldn't have happened?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm really sorry, like, but it did happen." And I just remember I ran outside. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what else to do. And it probably just sounds kind of dumb, but I didn't know what to do. I just dropped my phone and I ran outside, and I was just like freaking out. And then I came back inside because I was like, "Oh, I have to tell Sally. Sally doesn't know. I need to tell Sally." And my mom was like, "What happened? What happened? Like, what the hell's going on?" And I told her, I was like, "I have to call Sally." And she's like, "No, you can't tell Sally. You can't just tell Sally like that, because she's young. She's not my age. She'll take it differently." So my mom called Sally's mom and told her what happened. And you just hear, I remember I was standing there and I can hear Sally's mom like, "Oh my God, that girl was just over at our house, we love that girl." And her mom couldn't even talk because she was so upset. And then I hear Sally like, "Oh, what's going on, Mom?" And then her mom tells her, and I remember I just hear Sally like screaming in the background, and her mom said she's like freaking out, and Sally was like on the floor and like crying and stuff. And it was a bad day. I don't know, I couldn't sleep that day.
Yeah, and I'm very glad that she talked to me that night, because I do remember the last thing I got to say to her was, "Good night, I love you." That's like a thing for me. I always do that. But it's very reassuring that I got to tell her one last time. And I remember waking up. Like, I could tell you exactly what happened that whole entire day. From the second I woke up to the second I went to sleep, I could tell you what I was wearing, what song I was listening to, when I got the call. I could tell you the exact time. I could tell you everything about it, I woke up in the morning. It was Easter Sunday. I get a call from Cameron around like 1, and he sounds a little down, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "Something happened to Serina." And I thought he was playing a joke on me. I genuinely did. And I was like, "What's wrong? Like, what happened?" And he told me. First thing I said was, "If this is a joke, like, please tell me, because this is, like, you have to be serious, He's like, he starts crying, basically. And I was just like, I started crying immediately. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I woke up this morning and she wasn't with me.
I didn't really think it was real because it was like 9 o'clock. Usually I text her when I wake up, but I just, I don't know, I just didn't text her, so I didn't know anything was wrong until my mom got a call from, I think it was Serina's mom, and she just like started crying, and I didn't know what to think. I just hoped it wasn't Serina, but it ended up being her, and I just didn't want to believe it. Like, I don't know. It was just hard.
For a long time I had to help Cameron. I felt very responsible, I guess you could say. I don't know why. I think everyone felt responsible for what happened in some way or another. Some people, I know a lot of people were like, oh, I wish I'd talked to her, I wish I knew her better, things like that. But it's like in that, like, you can't, there's nothing much you could do anymore. But I definitely felt like there was a lot I could have done. Now it's different. I know I couldn't have done anything else. But with Cameron, I felt like I was afraid he would end up doing something, like similar to her, to be with her or something like that. And it was scary. I would stay up on the phone with him a lot. I would try to talk to him as much as possible. He didn't come to school for 3 days. I remember that. It was really hard for him. I actually remember one time we were walking to class and he saw this couple and they were like, you know, hugging, kissing, things like that, and he just wouldn't stop staring at them. And I literally had to force him to like walk away and just not look at them. It's heartbreaking.
I thought I was like in a nightmare, but like not a scary night, like one of those nightmares where you just like wake up and you're sweating and you're nervous for like the rest of the day when you're actually awake. And I think that's kind of how it felt like when we went to school the next day. I was like nervous, and I kept thinking I was going to see her again, and I still feel like I'm going to see her again somewhere in the halls. And like she always hung out by my locker, and those first few weeks, the very next day actually, I thought I was seeing her, and I thought like I could hear her laughing, and it was horrible.
I remember I got dropped off over there, and I just as soon as I stepped onto the campus, I just started crying. You know, like in all my classes, I would just cry. I remember that I had MedCorps that day, and we had to go around and like talk to each other, to, you know, get information from each other about like a project. And this girl comes up to me and she goes, "I'm really sorry, like, about what happened." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And she goes, "Why did she do it? How did she do it?" Like, you don't ask people that. You don't ask people that in the middle of class. Why'd she do it? How'd she do it? And I remember I just broke down in that class, and I just walked out.
The next day was Monday, and that was when we started lifting for basketball. We had talked about how exciting it was and like, yay, things like that. It was so weird, like, to not have her. Like, I think about how I reacted when I first heard, and like, it really, for maybe a good 6 months, I couldn't believe it still. 6 months. I still couldn't. I was like, oh, like, I'm going to end up seeing her one time. That's cool. Actually, the week that it happened, I remember I was walking around school, and I saw someone that looked just like her. That bag like hers, shoes like hers, looked just like her. And I took a double take, and I was like, no way. Like, that's impossible. And I started crying. I was like, wow, like, I can't believe I actually thought that was her. Like, it's definitely not.
And then we had basketball. We had basketball that day. And someone came and talked to us, and like, I was late to that class because I was like crying outside, inside. No, it was hard. Cause I tried to be there for Sally and everyone else, really. It was hard.
I missed like 4 days of school. I didn't come back for a while, so it was really hard because we hung out a lot. She was like my best friend, and we were really close, so coming to school without her was pretty hard. I really didn't want to finish the year without her, so it just felt different without her.
It was so quiet in basketball that period. We were all always so loud in that class, if you remember, and it was like so fun to be in there, but it was so quiet, and she wasn't sitting in front of me like usual, and you know, Sally was sitting with Hannah next to her, and it was just like different and quiet, and I hated it. Just from then, I was like, I hated that vibe, because I knew that's not what she was like about. She was like very upbeat and happy. Like, I think she really strived to be like that, even if she wasn't feeling it on the inside. And she made me happy, and she succeeded in doing that. So it was different, and it was quiet.
I come Monday and everyone's sitting there, but everyone's just dead silent. Like, that's the quietest I've ever felt, and that tension and the heartache and everything, I felt it. I had no idea what was going on, and I just sat there, and we just waited for a while until Loafing started talking to us, and then right when he started talking to us, that's when I knew this is real. Not during the school when everyone was talking about it, not during the silence. It was when he started talking and everyone with their heads down and everything. That's when I knew this is real.
So I wore all black for that whole week. And I remember when I first got to school, like, I looked dead. I personally did. I cried so much. Like, every single class I just cried. I remember during first period, I think it was, they had like a moment of silence, and I genuinely could not stay silent. I was crying so much. I remember 5th period basketball, when we were supposed to start lifting, we all met in coach's room, and like, I was like one of the last people to show up, because I just couldn't. Like, that room especially has so many memories with her of like off season and preseason and things like that. Like, it was crazy just walk in there and be like, she's not ever going to be able to walk in this room with me again.
And over the past couple of days then, like, I just saw how it affected people who just said hi to her, people who knew of her but never talked to her, people who just saw her passing by the hallways, people who didn't know her at all and just heard that happen, were so affected. They cried, they teared up, they had to talk to people. Like, it affected everyone differently, you know? And it's not that the closest people were so affected. It affected everyone greatly in their own way. Yes, it affected the family the most and her closest friends and her boyfriend, but I wasn't super close to her like Sally or Hannah, but it hurt me, and it made me cry.
So in her note for her family and friends, she basically was like, she was telling her parents, like, oh, like, I want you guys to, like, stay together for, like, my siblings and things like that. She wanted us to forget about her. She genuinely, like, she wanted that, you know? Which is impossible, like, obviously, you know? I always thought about getting a line in her note tattooed on me, like, in her handwriting, which is really weird, but, yeah, I always wanted to get with love, ... because I feel like she did everything with love. Even the note, she did it with love. I know she's written more than one, and she's told me that, and I've never read any of the other ones, but I think if there's one that's most genuine, it would be this one. I felt like, I remember, like, when I first read it, I was just like, she definitely... You know, there are times where I think she planned it out and she, like, knew she was going to do it that day. And there are times I think no, there's no way, like, something must have happened after I talked to her, something like that, and, like, something snapped, because, I don't know, it's very wishy-washy in that way. The note she wrote for Cameron is probably the saddest thing I have ever read in my whole entire life. The last line literally says, P.S., sorry for the tears, because there's little smudge marks of her tears everywhere, and it's really, really sad. She basically tells him, like, live to 100 and marry someone and have a happy life and, you know, things like that. And she's like, you know, like, I know we said we'd have a future, but I'm sorry, and, like, things like that. I know somewhere in her note she said, like, the darkness finally, like, took me. Which is, like, when I think about her, I think about such a radiant, bright girl, and it's like she's always smiling, she's always here to cheer someone up, very giving, like, so amazing, and it's just like such evil thing was happening to her, and it's so sad. Like, I'm not saying anyone deserves it, but if there was someone that truly did not deserve this, it was her. You know, I don't think that girl had an evil bone in her body. Yeah, I'm pretty biased considering, but yeah, that's how I feel about that.
So, mentally, I was done. I was totally done with everything that was going on in my life, and that's only a small portion of it, right? I mentally broke down, and emotionally, which emotionally hurt me, which then led to me physically just wanting to give up and be done. So how it affected me was I realized what she did and how it affected everyone. I couldn't go through with it. I couldn't just stay here in this dark hole where I thought there was no light. She inspired me, if anything. She showed me that, and I'm sure she regretted it. Right after she did, she regretted it, because I would hear all these plans about her future and how she wanted kids and to grow up here, and you know, and that was, so she didn't plan it. It takes 1 second to change everything. It literally takes 1 second for you to do something like that. It's not, yes, over a period of time before, like, it builds up, but it takes 1 second to do it and 1 second to change your mind. It's not that you want to do it. It's that your mind can go blank, or it can be so overwhelmed that it happens, you know? And she was not a weak person. She was so strong, and she stayed strong all the way. And even after, she stayed strong, and she made people strong. She made me strong. I couldn't go through with it, and she gave me hope, that glimmer of hope that I so badly needed.
So her vigil was absolutely beautiful. Everyone had candles. It was sunset. It was amazing, and, like, her mom spoke and coach spoke. Oh my gosh, I will never forget anything her mom said. Like, talking about the Aladdin song, talking about how she was born good, things like that. It's like, it's almost a year later. I still remember it all.
This is overwhelming in the best kind of way. How do I begin with farewell when I still don't believe you're gone? How do I say goodbye to a part of my soul? The day you were born, I felt this incredible love from the beginning of your life. You were always so gentle and graceful. People would say Yeah, but wait until she's a teenager with a teenage attitude. The teen years came, and I'm still telling people how gentle and graceful you are.
But yeah, so her vigil, I know a lot of people showed up, and the whole entire basketball program was there, and it was probably the first time I ever felt such an overwhelming sensation of just love and care and pain at the same time. I tried not to cry until the song Our God came on, and it was showing pictures of her, and her whole entire family stood up with their candles and they started singing along, and that was truly the moment I felt so sad. I felt so sad because I realized how all of those people, everyone there will miss her. So many people and just so much emotion. It's just, I felt so sad because she just left it all behind.
We all love her, and we all care for her. Doesn't matter if we didn't know her. Doesn't matter if we weren't close to her is a strong way. Doesn't matter if we were her go-to person or her closest person ever. We all care about her. And whether we realize it or not, as humans, we all care about each other. And it'll all affect us in one way or another when one person leaves your life.
It's been really different. I try not to think about it often, but I'll still see things like, oh, that would have been fun if we went together, or if I got that for her. But it really changed my life and stuff. I mean, it's like losing a best friend. It wasn't really I didn't really see it from like losing a girlfriend. I saw it from like losing a friend. And it definitely changed like my family too, because she was always over. And it made my parents really sad too. It wasn't the best.
I struggled a lot, and Coach Lofink made me do counseling, which was offered like those first few weeks, and I mean, it helped me, and I cried, and you know, every single night I would like go to bed and I would talk with her, and I'd say, I hope you're happy now, and I hope you see that everyone loves you. And I had to like work very, very hard to think about it, but not in a way where it would like ruin me or like destroy the feeling that I know she wanted everyone else to have and not be down. But right now, just because I'm like turning 16 tomorrow, I'm like, yeah, I'm very sad actually today, especially now that we're doing this, because I never thought my best friend wasn't going to be at my 16th. She wouldn't like be with me or whatever. So
I still have people, like, you know, everyone has people, no matter how alone you feel. I know even if she didn't think she had people, I don't know, I hope there was, at some point when she was thinking about it and in the act and everything, like, I hope she realized this is a mistake, it shouldn't be happening, like, I regret it.
I don't know, you have to be open-minded that things will get better someday. And she couldn't see that, but she was like full of potential and like endless possibilities with her, endless. But yeah, you just have to keep an open mind.
So at Serina's vigil, I believe, yeah, we all got bracelets. We all got basketball, got the red ones, and like, you know, these ones too. I have worn these every single day since. I take them off, like shower and like, you know, things like that. Practice, I wear them. Games, I wear them right until a ref tells me I can't wear them. You know, I wear them every single day of my life because it's like the last thing I have left of her. And I actually lost them for a brief 12 hours, and it was probably the most hectic I've ever felt. Like, I woke up at 3 in the morning, like, crying because I couldn't find them, and I was, like, hysterical. It was, like, bad. I mean, I could talk about it, obviously, a lot easier than I could when it first happened. I would start crying instantly. But now it's like, I feel a lot more comfortable. I think about her every single day still. When I feel nervous or when I feel anxious or anything, like, I hold my bracelet and I remember, you know, like, it's okay. She's like an angel now to me. Like, when I pray for her. I pray for her family so much. And it's like, I pray for anyone who's going through something like her. I hope that her death was something that everyone learned from. That everyone realized, like, you have to talk to someone. You can talk, please. Like, something that I feel like she used to tell me a lot is, like, no one's going to care if I did it. And it's not true. It's, like, almost a year since it happened, and I could start crying about it. I could. But it's, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's crazy to me that someone could think that there's no one here for them. If you really genuinely think that there's no one here for you, you need to meet me, okay? Like, that's for sure. We need to meet then, homie, because, like, I will do anything in my power if I could make you not do this to yourself and realize that there's so much more in life, and you have a future, you have hopes, you have aspirations, you have love.
So this is something I wrote about her in honor of her. Some see the glass half empty, others see it as half full, but the amount of water inside her glass was something she could not control. Hurtful words were constantly whispered in her ear by the king of lies. She began to believe it and harmed herself. Her pillow muffled her cries. The Heavenly Father looked down at his daughter with eyes full of sparkling tears. He showed her his love and said to have trust, and he'd take away her worries and fears. But this broken girl had Satan's lies wound around her head so tight that she was blinded, couldn't see God's love, gave up, and lost the fight. Some see the glass half empty, others see it as half full. Serina's glass was neither. It was broken just like her soul.
Well, I wrote a lot for her that was, like, I still do. I still always write, like, Dear Serina, like, this is, like, what's going on, you know, here's how Cameron is, our friends, like, basketball. So this is part of the poem that I'm going to read. Present tense became past tense when her bones felt broken and her breath was heavy and her eyes filled with tears that were never there when we didn't see them. Her words became the mask she wore, and her touch was different than before, and her smile showed a world of darkness, but her heart showed love. Her heart showed love. When present tense became past tense, we felt guilty for not listening. When present tense became past tense, we think of what we could have done. When present tense became past tense, I thought it was all a joke. When present tense became past tense, a world without you had begun. An angel was welcomed home when present tense became past tense.
Got a lot to do, but stay now. Things just started getting good, and don't you let me walk away.